Morning, Michael. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you, Dave?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. No, thanks. Thought it would be good that the two of us catching up just to chat about us looking to mark International Men's Day and how we wanted to sort of highlight the issues around sort of men's mental health, but sharing our personal experience and some of the challenges that we've perhaps faced and some of the great initiatives that are out there to tackle any difficulties or problems that people may be experiencing. So probably just worthwhile doing a couple of quick introductions. Obviously, I'm David McKay from Workman's Glasgow office, and obviously joined by Michael Dickinson, Sales Charles Accountant in Swindon. We're both proud, I'd say, to be part of the firm's Disability, Neurodiversity and Mental Health Employee Network, and this supports our staff and those living or affected by disability, neurodiversity and long-term physical and mental health conditions.
Thanks for the introduction, Dave. It's good to be able to talk about health. This is a subject that is massively under-discussed, men's health, especially mental health and other well-being issues where we are there. That's one of the main significance behind this day, Men's International Health Day, is that it is a subject that needs to be talked about more. Now, we're lucky we're an organisation that will allow you to talk about it. Significance of it is people don't realise, the biggest single killer of men under the age of 45 is suicide. There is a lot of pressure on men, especially younger ones. And we're here today to sort of trying to raise the awareness of this and break the stigma and then show you there is help available and you're not alone. That's what. Dave, could you share some of your personal experiences about
I'm more than happy to do so. Probably sort of young guy from West of Scotland, I'll probably say I get across the board it's the same. Burying your head in the sand, people asking how you are and saying things look fine when sometimes clearly you're not fine. And I think for me, I'm happy to share some of the experiences I've had and how what was perhaps one of the most difficult periods of my life has ended up being able to reflect on how I look after my mental health a lot better than I had been before. Because from my perspective, mental health, sometimes it's people can think about physical health, but your mental health is just as important, if not more important. And I think it's clear that we have to be talking about it. And I was one of those that perhaps could be seen as shy, reserved. But again, people were looking out for me and noticed some triggers, but I couldn't notice them. So I think that's where I'm keen to obviously say as well, this was from both personal, work, family, and I think sometimes you just get in that stage where you can't get out of it. And unfortunately for me, it just got too far, so to speak, and I had to take some time out. But in doing so, I've been able to turn a lot of things around, and I think that's where I'm keen to share that you're not alone. It is sort of good to talk, and it sounds might be very cliche or anything like that, but after what I'd been through, it's known that there is support out there, and sometimes it's from people you would least expect, and also people you most expect, because there's somebody out there that cares for you, so they want to see you in the sort of best health that you are possible. So I've always been an advocate of trying to help others, but sometimes I've not been helping myself, and sometimes it's not selfish, and I think that's a word that you're not being selfish if you're actually looking after yourself, and I think that's a key message. And sometimes trying to please everyone, you can't always please everyone. You need people will be pleased if you're looking after yourself, and that's my big message I've definitely felt in the last 18 months. It's changed, and that people get more out of me, so to speak, if I'm in a better place.
I don't think you can help others if you are yourself in a not a place where you're in a good place yourself, because you won't have the fortitude to be able to help others and the ability to help others if you're in a position that you aren't able to look after yourself. And like Dave, I've also been in a position very similar to Dave in a previous occupation and come through it. And I think the one thing that was evident to me is I would want to be in a position where I can help others, because if I can help one other person not go there, I consider that to be a success. And that's one of the reasons I'm happy to be talking about it today.
Yeah, and I think, Mike, we're both from different aspects of the business that is property management, but also different offices,
Yes.
different ages and things like that, and different family lives and everything else that goes with it. But I think we've got to know each other quite well over the last year and months, and I think it's been reassuring and good for me that we can chat about these things, and if we can try and get away from that sort of stigma of it, it's great. And the firm, for me, which is really great to see, is we're helping and looking to do that. And one of the things that I've been delighted to do and get involved in is carrying out things like mental health first aid training, or something I was able to put myself forward for just because of some of my experiences. But then I took a step back and thought the other way around. I can maybe add to that and sort of some of the things that I've experienced before, and maybe let people know that this could perhaps be helpful to them, and being approachable. And as I say, I think we probably use the word stigma or things like that, but it's getting away from it. I'd much rather talk about it than it being sort of sitting in the background and people maybe struggling and wanting to speak and having that separate voice.
I think one of the things through doing this we have discovered is both of us have been for a very similar experience, so therefore we've got at least one other person to talk to. Once you've got at least one other person, it makes a massive difference, because that will give you at least, you've got somebody you can turn to. And interesting, you were saying about the first aiders, because that's just one of the helps we've got here, because every office has got at least one, or the bigger offices such as Swindon have got two, but one on each floor. We've also got the mental health resources, such as the confidential helpline, that's Health Assured, which you've got to get the information on the hub, so it's a completely confidential. I've used it, his family can use it, my partner, she's used it, so she's been on a completely unrelated topic, and she just wanted someone to talk to for 10 minutes. I've been there, I just needed someone to talk to for 10 minutes because I was feeling quite down. So I phoned them up and they'd phone back relatively quickly, and I had someone to talk to. It was really reassuring. I suppose it's part of creating an open, supportive culture, which leads to which leads up to lower sickness levels and better working environment through less absenteeism through members of staff. If you get this, if people are open about it, 'cause if you sit there, you will only go in a negative spiral, and you will end up doing more damage to yourself. Where you think, oh, I can just see this through. I don't need help. But occasionally people do, and a lot of people do. There's a very large number of men, about 1 in 8 men, can be suffering from depression almost any one time, or some sort of form of anxiety. So if you are out there, you need help, please do ask.
And I think that's a massive thing, Michael, as well, as we've probably spoke about, is having that additional support. That we're very lucky, not all of us would be able to do that, and just having something like that. And for me, the big thing was taking advantage of that. And sometimes for me, it was actually speaking to somebody that doesn't know you, has no preconceptions of your role, your situations, and just asking. And sometimes that's easier to speak to somebody that you perhaps don't know. But the same token, it's also speaking to those closest to you who do know you and things and recognise these things. And I think for me, it made a massive difference to me.
Because sometimes you almost need the friendly sort of, we just phone up, oh, hi Dave, how are you, kind of thing. And occasionally you need to, hang on, I'm in a really bad place. It might be the middle of the weekend, might be over, you're working from home, you're feeling a bit alone. So what do you want? I just need to talk to someone for 5 minutes. Phone them, the support is there. And don't forget, there are other forms of support as well.
No, and I think that's the big thing, isn't it? When we both shared things, and it was positive for us both to say there's certain things out with sort of working things and various groups that are there that we've both realised are there, but maybe others don't. So you've got different things like there's Andy's Men's Club, there's lots of charities that are doing a lot of great work, such as CAM and the NHS as well. And I think for me, the big thing, and I know we spoke about it, we're both big sports fans and different sports as well. I'm watch a lot of football, and there was a video last year. It was Norwich City released a video about mental health, and it was a very hard-hitting video, but something like that triggered for me, and it was not necessarily somebody that's quiet and reserved. It was actually the other way. It was somebody that was outgoing, and so again, everyone's different, and something really positive for me that I'd taken away that in the last 18 months or so is doing something different, trying something new that maybe I'd gotten a rut that I didn't want to do. So I didn't feel confident to help out my son's football team. But then by doing that, I've went on coaching. And the great thing for me is the stigma is getting removed, because one of the key modules in that is about mental health in sport. And for me, that was just eye-opening as somebody that's very much in sport. But I know, Michael, you've had examples of that as well in your rugby, and you like your rugby.
I'm a big rugby fan, and there was a time a couple of seasons ago when I followed a professional rugby team, and one of the players, I found that he came into a very nasty situation. The match following time players came out with the phrase, "It's okay not to be okay" on their back instead of their players' names. They had to get, which was great, because they did the whole weekend was dedicated to showing that it is okay not to be okay for everybody, for mental health, but especially men's mental health, on the principle that these are professional sports people who you would think are, especially professional rugby players, you would think are big, tough, and will quote man up, unquote, to anything, but even they do have problems, and they suffer. So it is everybody who can be under and have these problems.
Yeah, and I think it's as we spoke about quite a few times, Michael, is if you'd broke your finger, you would get help for that. There's nothing wrong with saying, actually, I'm not feeling myself. You would get help from that as well. So that's where, as we say, if anybody ever wants to chat or anything, I think we're very open to.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing for me. It's been quite eye-opening for me. It's again, typical men, and I know this might come across strange saying that, but we probably all recognise that as well. There's nothing wrong with saying, actually, I need some help, and that's you're better placed if you do ask for help, and because everyone around you wants you to.
As you said, if you break your arm, you'd go to the hospital. So why not look on the local health service if you have sort of need for that? I mean, we're lucky in Swindon. We've got a good talking therapies system where you can self-refer, and it's all done over Teams. So you can of an evening, so you don't even have to leave home. You can do it on your computer at home. And I'm sure there's other things available, similar things around the country. But if you look up on your local NHS, you might find stuff like that available, which can help you. And you get to find, and it's not, it's going to just be a load of people sitting around. About 1 in 3 people who take these up are men. So it's not going to be, you'll be surprised how many other men there were there. I've done these in the past before COVID when it was in person, and it was quite good. It was very good. It was very reassuring.
Yeah.
Very nice.
No, but as I say, I think it's great that the firm supports this as well, and I think for me it's about looking forward. We can always sort of look back and kid on with some of the colleagues and stuff. I'm not Marty McFly, I'm not Back to the Future, I've not got a DeLorean to go back and forward, but I also recognise maybe there are things that I've done before got me and feeling different, but I also know that there will be days that I can't be 100%, and there's nothing wrong with that as well. If there's certain days that you don't feel yourself, that's only natural and human as well. So it's trying to just make sure that there is that support and sort of even recognising that things. And there's so many support levels and things that you can do, but there's so many things that might work for somebody, that might not work for somebody else. And sometimes it's what's best for you as well. And my big thing is, I've always said that it's me having to look after myself, and it's not selfish. And that's where I think I was getting very much into if I do this, when something, but you have to look after yourself at times so that others can benefit from you as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, and also be open about it to your colleagues if you can. Because I'm open about it in my team as well as to Dave and my line manager. And I had a meeting last week because we've got a very busy time coming up. Is how can they put things in place to help me? So
Yeah.
there are people. If you ask people for help or say, "Hang on, I might need a little bit of assistance," they help you. If you sit there and don't tell people, they can't help you because they may not know. They're busy people as well. So
Yeah.
be open with people.
Yeah.
So I think it's.
No, and I think for me that this is great, and it's understanding that support is there, and I'm always at the end of the phone, and I know you are as well, Michael, as well.
Yes.
But I think it's just hopefully this has came across as we intended it to, and there is no stigma with your mental health, and it's key to being.
I think the things we wanted to come across, the main two things were it's okay not to be okay. If you need help, do ask. The help is out there. And if you don't know where to turn to myself or Dave. We can point you in the right direction, even if it's from the first place. Talk to your office-based work, mental health first aider. Just phone up, talk to friends, talk to family. Or if you don't want to, there are definitely phone lines you can phone, like Calm and Mind. So there's those. But you're not alone. You're not alone. You just want to know that. But you may feel like it. It may, in your darkest moments, think you are the one person in the world who feels like this. I promise you, you're not. About 1 in 8 men have a prevalence of affected by mental health. So if you look around, if you're thinking, oh, I'm on my own, look around the office, see how many men there are, and say, right, there's 16 in the office. I'm sure I know I'm not. There must be at least one other person here who probably is suffering. So just get that feeling you're not alone. I think that's the main thing. And if, as I said before, and I think we both have said many times, if we can help just one person not go where Dave and I have been, we consider that a massive success.
Yeah.
We would never want anyone to do that because we've been there. Please don't go there.
But yeah, no, Michael, as ever, know it's always good to the two of us have a good chat. So hopefully people have enjoyed this chat, which is both from a serious perspective, but also just as hopefully as we come across, we are approachable, and that's where don't be scared to come and see us. And even if it's different offices and things like that, we have mental health first aiders across the firm. And I think you don't have to go to somebody in your office. It can be MD. That's why we're there to sort of do that. But no, Michael, as ever, thank you for your time.
Thanks,
and look forward to catching up with, or as we're doing.
No doubt speak very soon. Cheers. Thanks, Dave, for your time.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.